are very curious about this time jump and what's going on with the characters that we didn't see at the end of last season because we don't know what happened to that intervening year.
Yeah, well, you know, the time jump was, obviously, we spent a lot of time talking about how the world's not survivable for 5 years, and to be honest, one of the reasons that we wanted to jump this time was because when the doors open and they come back to Earth, I wanted them not to have to wear hazmat suits anymore. And I'm sure the actors were happy about that. So, and everybody will have changed a lot by the time we get back to the present.
And Jason, how early in the season will we be able to find out what happened during those 6 years?
Well, I mean, the specific story of those 6 years. We're going to flash back pretty early in the premiere. We'll tell Clark's story quite a lot to catch back up to where we see her in the finale last year. We will flash back and tell. The bunker story too, to see how that story is really complicated and really cool and very different than I think people are expecting. And we will see that too.
So I'm from Argentina and the show is crazy popular. So,
awesome.
Yeah. Why do you think people around the world can relate with this story, with this story?
You know, I think we all live at a time where, for some reason, these post-apocalyptic stories seem less and less fictional, and so you know, it's that idea of putting your, like, what if this really happening? And I think that's we all share a planet, you know, and so they just so happen to be speaking with the American accent because the ship the sort of biggest, baddest ship in the Armada when the Ark formed was the American space station, and we're making it for a U.S. TV network. So, yeah, I mean, it's funny, you're not asking this question, but I've often gotten the question was, why does everybody have an American accent if they're all came from all over the place? And if you think about what happens if you immigrate to another country, you know, you still have your accent, but your children don't, and their children, you know, it's further away you get, the more you start to become one crew, you know, before the assimilation happens. So, it would have actually been less accurate had we had them all speaking in their native tongues, which would have been cool too.
Jason, what are you most excited for the fans to see in this new season?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, for me, every season is different. You know, one of the goals that I set is to try to tell a new movie every year. You know, like what's the you know, the 100 part 5, and I'm always excited about that. We spend a lot of time in the room trying to, as we come to the end of the season, it's like I start to panic. We don't have it yet. What's next season? We need to set it up at the end of this season. You know. And when we hit on this idea, I was really excited about it. But then I went back and sort of started laying some Easter eggs in to the earlier cuts to try to set it up. So I'm excited about people seeing the prison ship. I'm excited about these new characters that are coming off that ship. I'm really excited to see Clark's evolution, how she's a mother really now, and how that changes her perspective. I'm really excited about Octavia's transformation and what happens in the bunker and how one crew either stayed together or didn't. That's a crazy story that I've, you know, been banging my head against for the last couple weeks, but it's there. And so I think it's all really cool. I'm really excited about Bellamy and his sort of like holistic leadership, you know, coming into focus. So it's gonna be a hell of a season.
Jason, do you feel that after going into its 5th season, the social media presence has been more helpful or harmful to this show in 5 years?
I think it's, you know, I think social media is a double-edged sword, frankly. And I think it allows people to, for some reason, Twitter allows the worst instincts of people to come forward. It's also a really great way to connect with the fans. So, for me personally, it's not the best medium. I'm a very impulsive person, so I kind of stepped away from it and realized that it didn't really help the show that much or hurt it. So it's a good question. I'd say it's a double-edged sword is my answer.
Whose storyline are you most excited for us to see coming up in the first episode?
In the first episode, Clark's story is probably the one. I mean, it's really, it's bonkers, the premiere. So very different show, very different episode. That's what I'll say about that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks guys.